Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Let's Paint. Today we're going to tackle an Enforcer Maven. This is the first of two super heavies for the Enforcer faction. This one, as most of my reinforcements are, is 3D printed on my Anycubic Mono X2 using Anycubic ABS-like water wash resin. So, as is standard with the Enforcers, as you should probably be aware at this point, it was primed black, it was based Payne's gray, and then it was zenithal with white blue. And now we're going to start in on applying some colors. I don't have a strong plan going into this one. We're going to kind of feel it out as we go, but I know I want to stick with the core faction colors, so I'm starting with Payne's gray. I'm just going to apply this to a few of the panels, kind of get an idea of what I want to be Payne's gray, what I want to be black red, and kind of just feel the model out as we go. So let's just see where we end up. There's a lot of footage of me just finding where I'm going to put the Payne's gray here, so I'm going to use the magical powers of editing to speed this up for you. There are a lot of great lines on this thing, and we didn't apply a wash to this. Being a much larger model, I didn't want to just douse it in a wash and see what happened. I wanted to kind of preserve some of that bright white. So I'm going to actually go in and start panel lining out all of those beautiful little hard edges we've got all along the length of the model. Again, I'm going to speed this up because it goes on nauseatingly long, and I mean, you see me do one panel line, you're going to see me do 100 panel lines, so you'll get the idea. After nearly 40 minutes of panel lining footage, I chopped that down and sped that up as much as I could to hopefully have it still be useful. I'm switching over to black red. I had a pretty good idea where I wanted this at this point in the process, especially in the front area there along that like plated bridge area and on the front of the, I don't know, hover struts, landing struts, whatever we want to call those nacelle looking things. After we're done with the red, I'm going to come back in with my Payne's gray and reinforce those panel lines that kind of got muddied in the process. Now, I warned you in the beginning here, this was a very feel my way through it kind of model, so the flow isn't quite as procedural as it had been with all the infantry at this point. This is very much just kind of a discovery for me and for you as we go on this journey together. At this point, I'm going to come in with Grim Black speed paint and get those weapons painted on the side of the Maven, just to kind of see how the model is taking a shape and kind of get an idea of where the color is and the balance of the model is sitting. I decided the missile launcher bay could use a coat of the Grim Black as well. And while it's out on the palette, I figured why not the big radar dish up front here as well? It could be black. I'm pretty happy with where we're going right now, so I'm going to bust out the white blue and go in to do some edge highlighting along the surfaces of the model. Now I understand that this step of the process can be a little tedious with the edge highlighting and just kind of repainting what we've already painted again and again. It's also a great opportunity to go in and clean up any of the spots where our panel lining might have gotten out of hand. You're working with the same base color, you can just work over it, especially along those panel lines. The edge highlight against the panel line is going to bring a really nice contrast. It's going to make the model look a lot sharper. Now we're going to take a little bit of our white blue and mix it in with a little bit of our black red and work a highlight on these red sections. Now you can just use the side of your brush and just do a really nice clean edge highlight along all of the corners and it'll look pretty sharp. I went a little further here and tried to build almost kind of a glossy look onto the front section of the Maven here. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It did take a little more work. I wouldn't blame you for just doing the edge highlight and moving on. That's entirely up to you, how you want the final product to look. Just like our black red, we're going to add a little bit of the white blue into our Payne's gray and do a highlight across the Payne's gray areas. I'm also going to use this color to highlight the black on the weapons just to give them a little more sheen and pop off of that hull a little bit more. This is edge highlighting. I'm just going to speed this up for you so you can get through it. At this point, I'm going to take some pure white blue and I'm going to just do a small edge highlight in the red sections. We don't want a ton of this. We don't want to overdo it. We just want to add a little bit of shine into that reflection that we built. Now I'm going to take a little dark neutral gray just to apply a highlight to the radar dish on the top of the Maven. And we'll follow that up with a thinner edge highlight of neutral gray. Well, I said early on that this was an exploration and that we would be learning through this together. So this is an example of where I probably should have quit while I was ahead. So after applying the neutral gray highlight, I thought, let's take it a step further and really push it with some light neutral gray and just a really thin, like kind of like starburst sheen. And I did that, and I really didn't care for it. So what you're seeing here is me applying it and then basically questioning it. And I go back with a neutral gray glaze to bring that super high highlight back down into the range I had with the regular neutral gray. So if you're following along, this is probably a step you can skip with the light neutral gray altogether. But I wanted to also make sure that I kind of showed it to see how I was fumbling through painting this. So now, real quick here, we're going to grab our blue-white and fill in our engines just to have a nice base down for us to apply some glow effect off of these engines all along the ship, the sides and the back. It's important to note here that it's okay if you're a little messy, if a little bit of the white spills over the edge or just outside. Once we cover it with the light blue effect, it's gonna just look kind of like a glow. So don't stress out about making sure you stay perfectly inside the line. Insert obligatory pun about glow-ups. Done. Now I'm going to use Army Painter Air Blue Flux straight from the bottle and just brush it on and apply that over those areas we painted white for the glow effect. Alright, I'm going to apply some decals here. Soaked it in water and microsol and apply and crush out the moisture with a Q-tip or cotton swab if you don't use branded Q-tips. I don't have a lot to go like direction-wise here. I use little skull and crossbones because I think it's cool. It's the symbol for the 23rd Perseus North Quick Response Force, which is what I've dubbed my enforcers because I'm a lore nerd, I guess. So there you go. So I've spoken numerous times in this process about how this model was a discovery process from start to finish for me. It's much larger than anything else in the game that I've painted thus far. And I was trying to figure out how to break up just the large white area. The panel lining alone wasn't doing it for me. And you can see off camera I did a thinned down Payne's Gray wash into a handful of panels around the model. And it just wasn't doing it for me. So I decided that this large central panel on the wing sides was going to need broken up. And to do that, I'm just doing a Payne's Gray base over it, just so that we can kind of shatter that center mass of white. Feeling pretty good about how that broke up the model, I went ahead and moved up onto the side of the main hull there and got one of the large panels on each side of it as well. And now, just real quick, since we've added these large chunks of Payne's Gray, we're going to go back in and edge highlight those. And with that, we've come to the end. So I know this was a longer one, and thanks for making your way all the way through it. I appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you could hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, that would be awesome too. Just trying to push some epic content out to the world and give players something to do in their free time or hobby time or while they're painting. If you don't despise the sound of my voice, I've started a podcast with several of my friends called Pinned and Broken. You can find it on my YouTube channel or wherever you listen to podcasts. But we're going to get this base painted black so that we can get this Maven onto the table and play some games. This was a fun project, and I really enjoyed working my way through it. I've got the Draken left, and he's next on my paint list. But until then, let's take a look how this one turned out. Thanks for watching.